You see my slippers? Welcome to our home. All right.
Don't forget to talk loud.
I will forget to talk loud.
Today's video is sponsored by Audible.com.
You can't say that.
Why?
For real, though. We are going to be answering some of your questions that you sent in, and we'll just see how this goes. Okay, first question.
Okay.
We're going to start with some questions that were sent in about our story. Just for context, we were married, then we were divorced, then we were remarried. So, there's just a few things. First question. This is long. I'm going to see if you remember.
Okay.
It says, did you feel God trying to get your attention the whole time or just near the end of your time in the wilderness? What was it that finally clicked for you to turn away from what you thought you wanted versus what God really had planned for you?
Wow. Great question. So I remember, I walked away from the church. I walked away from everything. We got divorced and I was like an atheist, agnostic. But even in that season, I remember God trying to reach out to me. I'm a bit of a artsy guy. So I remember seeing a sunset and being like, there's no way that could just happen. Beauty was one way that I feel like God really reached me. And then in the way later parts, this thing that I'd built up to be the thing that I wanted that would make me okay, when that was proven to be a lie, I just kind of hit rock bottom really hard and really fast. So it felt like just my own failure was a way that God really reached out to me. This is another one from the DMs on Insta. In what ways did you develop the intimate relationship that you talk about, or how did you find peace?
With the Lord, I'm assuming. Not with you.
That was later.
That was later. I think for me, I felt like I had no other choice but to just lean into the Lord, because I could not make it through on my own as much as I rely on myself. I just recognized very quickly how much I couldn't get through it on my own. So I think just surrounding myself with good, godly women to speak into my life, which was a new thing for me. I was always very uncomfortable with that. Staying in the Word, I had a whole list of verses that were specifically just about how God uses your brokenness, how God is with you through it, all of those. It was huge for me. And also, I think just stepping out and doing things that were outside of my comfort zone. I went on a trip to Nigeria with a bunch of strangers, which just blew my mind. And still, it's crazy that I did that. But being able to do things and seeing how God showed up every time, it was just so faith building, and just developed this relationship with Him that I think I never had before.
This is a follow-up question from Chris, who's sitting right here. How would you define peace? Because I think that a lot of people have misconceptions about what peace is in the middle of a season like that.
That's good. Off script. So I think to start with what peace is not, it's not an absence of pain. It doesn't mean you're not hurting. It doesn't mean that everything is worked out so you feel peace. I think peace is when you can fully, and we wrote a song called Take This that kind of talks about this, if you want to go listen on Spotify. I think for me, it was getting to a place of completely letting go of any control, because I didn't have any control over what was happening in my life anyway, but trusting that the Lord had something for me, that there was a purpose, that He would use my pain. No matter how my story ended, I could rest and know that He could take that from me and I'd be all right.
You said that you didn't feel the Lord had spoken the same thing to you as He did to me, that we should be back together. So had you never prayed for reconciliation before He came over that night?
Good question. When we tell our story, we talk about how you got to the place where you felt God told you that we should be together again.
Clearer than anything I've ever known or felt from the Lord.
And I did not feel that at the same time. So,
shocker.
Definitely, yes. I did pray for reconciliation. At the point when Chris did come back, I don't know that was like a primary prayer still in my head. It was more of like, Lord, you have done so much in my heart, and I trust you, and I don't know what my future holds, but if it's your will, great. If it's not, I know that you have something better for me.
This is from Kylie on Instagram. How did you guys reconnect after your divorce? Were either of you praying for reconciliation? I mean, we just kind of answered that a little bit, but yeah, for sure you were. And we reconnected through her parents. I reached out to them first, and there were like rumors. She knew that something was going on with me, but that was like the initial olive branch was like to reach out to her parents, and then I called her. So that was heavy. We're going to move into...
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Did you say that?
The Bluetooth device... That's not it.
That's good.
This is rapid
fire.
Rapid fire.
There it is.
Nailed it.
All right, we're going to do rapid fire. We're going to break up the story questions because, it gets a little heavy. So we're going to do some light things. First question from Tasha on Facebook. What is your favorite ice cream?
You have to say the question into the microphone.
What is your favorite ice cream?
Chocolate Mousse Tracks.
Good.
Sharon on Instagram asks, what would you be doing if you weren't doing music?
Ooh, I was a teacher, had my graduate degree. Probably don't want to go back to that because education's crazy.
Okay, great. This is rapid fire. Moving on.
Oh, man. What would you be doing if you weren't doing music?
I don't know. Probably sales or something. I'm very driven. I don't know. What was your first date?
I think you should answer that.
What was our first date? We danced underneath the stars to Norah Jones in my backyard in high school.
And got Mexican and saw a movie. If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you... Tim from Washington wants to know, if you were a tree, what would it be?
A non-deciduous tree.
Elaborate.
Not one from around here in these parts.
You like them Pacific Northwest trees?
Like an evergreen or a spruce or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. What is one of your pet peeves? Mine is people that say nugget.
Mine is probably people that are arrogant. It's just gross. It's a gross trait, you guys.
What has been your favorite fancy date?
Have we ever had a fancy date?
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
We don't go out to eat a lot, but there's this hibachi place in Nashville, and I think one time we went to a hotel afterward.
Oh, yeah, that makes it fancy.
Megan on Facebook wants to know, what's your favorite simple date?
Probably just sushi. Sushi, watching This Is Us. What was one of the sweetest things each other, aka I,
Yes.
have ever said to you? I know mine.
Okay.
You said, honey, go in the other room. I got the kids.
That one's for free. Fellas.
Colleen.
Love Colleen.
Colleen on Insta wants to know, what is your favorite thing about me?
I said this the other day, and I stand by it. How you are good at all the things I'm not.
I'm competent. It's very romantic.
What's your favorite thing about me? Colleen on Instagram also wants to know from you.
Your face?
No.
No. Chris is super empathetic, more so than me, and that's really beautiful because I'm not that way.
See, your answer is the same as mine. It's the thing that's different about me.
And you... Sorry, more than one thing. And I also said this on our
we're done.
story.
Moving on.
Oh, no! All right, you ready?
Ask me. Say the question again.
All right. Getting back into it. Back into our story.
Yep.
All right, Mary Beth. Love you, Mary Beth. Over on Facebook, how would you describe reconciliation in a marriage after going through such a hurtful beginning?
Like in the broadest terms, I think that reconciliation and restoration, like in a Christian marriage, would go hand in hand. So it'd be like whatever that hurt was, God, like bringing you closer through that. Maybe not using that, but moving beyond it and being able to help others, I think is true, like reconciliation.
We have some songs about that.
We write a lot of songs about that. We do. So several people ask questions like this. How did you start your reconciliation process and deal with trigger items along the way? And how did you forgive each other and move past the hurt into a new life and relationship with each other?
I will not be able to answer all of those in my brain, out my mouth, so help me. As far as starting the process, I think we were very intentional about not jumping back in because
Counseling.
we just bingo. So we took a lot of time, did counseling separately, involved, our pastors were praying, our families and friends. So we just wanted to make sure we weren't relying on our own minds and going by what our own emotions were making us feel. We wanted to make sure we started on the right foot. The question about forgiveness, it just takes time. It's so hard because I wish there was like a magic formula that could tell you that helps you move past that hurt and the things that come up. But I think for us, just seeing him prove over and over and over again through that time period that he was trustworthy, even that was seen in simple things like him coming home from work and telling me that he was tempted by something, and that was really a struggle. That was huge for me because I could see that he was being vulnerable and transparent in a way that he wasn't before. So just forgiveness, yes, we're called to do that as Christ followers. But with trust, I think that's a whole separate thing, and that takes time. And if somebody wants to earn that trust back, they'll take the time and prove it that they're worth it.
All right, let's transition. That was a lot. This is just more general life questions.
Life after remarriage.
And away we go. Do you find it hard to juggle parenting?
Yes.
With a man?
Is there more to that?
Do you find it hard to juggle parenting with making music? Any tips?
Oh, boy. Yes. Yes, it is hard. Well, but like that.
Very good answer. Wow.
I think this just goes in general for any working parents, especially if you work from home. I think having boundaries of okay, at 4:00, we're going to stop because our job, we could do it 24 hours a day, right? Some of you can relate.
Need this? I don't think we need this microphone.
Probably not. Some of you can relate, right? So when our kids come home from school, they know we're going to work until 4. We're going to stop, put our phones away, and try to be present because it's...
Boundaries.
Yes, boundaries.
Moving on.
Woo, this is good.
Oh, boy.
That's good. Tasha, this is good.
Okay.
She said, what has been the most difficult thing that you've dealt with individually or as a couple when it comes to marriage-based ministry? It's a big part of what we do.
Yeah, so we love answering messages. We love getting to talk and just kind of minister to you guys and be an ear to listen and offer advice when we can. But it can be really tempting, and you can forget when you pour out. In any ministry, you're pouring out a lot. So it's to be intentional for us as a marriage ministry to pour into our relationship.
Yeah, and I think for us, just as a couple, being really intentional about checking in with each other, because doing ministry in general, we're doing it together and it's incredible, but you can move parallel, and doing the right thing, going the right direction, but forget to really connect.
Speaking of, how you doing? This next question comes to us from Ashley on Facebook. You live, work, parent, worship, and create together. What do either of you enjoy most when you have downtime apart from each other?
This makes me laugh for some reason.
You just like being apart, being alone. You don't even need to do anything.
sounds so terrible. Right now, we're having beautiful weather in Tennessee, and my favorite thing is to like go sit outside on the patio and read a book. That's probably good for me.
When I'm alone, like I get really recharged by like watching a good show or a good movie, something that like connects my artist heart. Yeah, and I like chess too.
I was about to say, boy, you better mention that thing.
It's a new thing in 2021.
Oh my gosh, he plays so much, you guys.
This is super fun. If you guys want to hang out with us, you obviously can follow us on...
Not like here.
I mean, that'd be cool, but... yeah, if you got any lingering questions or if something we said like made you think of something else, you can just comment or send us a message, and we stay really active there on all our socials.